Good morning, everyone. April the 5th, 2016. Time to kick off the third day of trading in the April contract. And we find treasuries and gold higher, crude and equities lower. Only stock market in the world that's higher is China's. The selling has been blamed on weakness in crude prices and the economic numbers that came out of Europe today. And the economic numbers that came out of Europe today, there was one number that beat its forecast. Everything came in lower than forecast. So even the service industries in Europe are beginning to feel the pinch. We have our ISM services numbers coming this morning. The ISM manufacturing number beat its forecast by quite a bit. Right now, I don't know how the ISM services number should come in. I know this, that when you read underneath the headlines and you go back and read about the concerns of the Fed and everybody else, that they're really worried about jobs once you get past the headlines. And the IMF last night came out and said that governments should do more to stimulate their economies. What stimulates an economy is lower taxes and less regulatory burden. And none of these governments are going to do that. They'll keep the interest rates artificially low. They'll borrow money to spend. That has to be worked through government agencies, so the bureaucrats get their cut of it. But they won't do what's necessary. If you wanted to clean things out, cut taxes, get rules and regulations headed the other way, cut the power of government, but that won't happen. Borrowing to spend will, and most likely is we'll have another round of that before this is over. So what we face as dilemma as traders is right now, in the overnight sessions, markets move until they're too low or too high in thin, less than liquid markets, and somebody will come in and buy them, sell them at that point. So we have a pretty good chance at 131 is resistance, and that may hold the markets this morning. I believe the direction of the ES and then our news will tell the tale of today's tape. And the E-minis got pretty good support at 2030. Now, I like the short side of the market in equities. I think that conditions are bad enough that economically that it should be headed lower, but I'm not a fool either. You can't fight the Fed. So the direction of the E-mini, I think this morning, right once the news hits the market, will be primal. And if it holds at 2030, which is where it could, and snaps back, then treasuries could sell. So our first sell zone stops above the overnight session high, 31 to 131.03, then 7 to 11 for sell 2. On the buy side, this 20 to 24 area, so 21 to 25, pretty aggressive. And then 13 to 17 for buy 2. This morning's news, trade balance, minus 46. .2. PMI services, 49.7, less than 50. That's probably a more honest assessment than our ISM numbers. When you look around, ISM S at 54, that could come in lower than forecast. Jolts, last month they wrote up Jolts as being the lowest it's been in so many months. It's marginally higher right now. It's 5.54 last month. Now it's 5.57 for job openings. And then IBP TIP, Small Business Optimism Index, at 47.7. You have to remember the economy is a state of mind. It's the willingness to forego a dollar today to get one in the future, and spending that dollar. And we like this number greater than 50. So the focus will be ISM services and the direction of the E-mini, in my opinion. I do like the buy side first, and we'll see if that plays out. Okay, the knob spread expanded greatly overnight. I mean, this is a rocket spread. We went out yesterday at 34.06, came in this morning a couple hours ago, it was at 35.08. And the large commercial entities love to play the spreads because they are where fundamentals are reflected, and you eliminate that, contract risk, the variability that comes with it. Okay, resistance is at 66.04, 66.08. So our first sell is 3 to 7. That's where it is. And if we get through that, then probably 19 to 20. Let's make it 15 to 19 for sell 2. And this will be our number 1 point. So number 2, 15 to 19. Number 3, 27 to 31. On the buy side, first little bit of support is going to be in the 65.20 to 24 area. So we'll make the London breakout 13 to 17 by 1. So that would be our number 2 point. And then our number 3 point looking at where the breakout was yesterday, we'll just drop it down. We'll make it 1 to 5. Still going to try to figure out how to handle this first level of support or resistance. The only reason I've got really highlighted it, our number 1 level, is that, that is resistance. That's where it is, and we have to get through that for the market to trade higher. Okay, gold was up with a weakness in equities, and like we said yesterday and every day, can be short, like the long side better in gold. And we're back to our 35.37. Sell 1. 40 to 42, sell 2. The breakout came from 25. We're at 32.70. Well, 25.27 by 1. And 21 to 19 by 2. Euro's off, and due to the weak economic, I think there was one number out of Spain that beat the economic forecast overnight. The rest of them came in well below forecast. So the low came in London in basically our 1375.65 area. So that's going to be support 1. And then 40 to 50 will be buy 2. On the sell side, we have the high at in London, basically 114.10. So at 114 even, plus or minus. And then 1425. This 1425 has been pretty stout resistance. We're having a hard time taking it. It gets a little bit above that, but not much. Crude oil, like we've been saying for the last several days, stops below 35. This is the trading target, and I believe we're headed there. Haven't made it yet. See, the low volume number is at 18, so we're going to expect some short covering after 35 is tested, so buy 1, 35, 35 and a quarter. Buy 2, 34 and a quarter, 34.50. Several reports came out yesterday saying look for 26, 27 to be retested. Okay, this spill from Globex came at 36.18, so 35, 75, 36, sell 1, 36 and a quarter, 36.50, sell 2. Okay, down to the E-mini. That 2030 area is the low volume number is going to be pretty good support. I want to show y'all something, and I mean there's no guarantee, but these dojis, when the market comes to balance, whichever side of the doji that you take out is usually a pretty good indicator of the next short-term direction of the market. So yesterday we had a doji, and it's probably because of where the open and the close was. It probably has another name too, but quite often that can be the high or the low, and they give you a nice little trading opportunity. And it's kind of like Fibonacci numbers and the rest of it. There are a lot of candlestick players out there. They see these formations and they act. Looking at our F2 screen, okay, we have the spill in London, which took out the Asian low, which is at 48. Last rotate up is stopped at 44. We have this in period high at 45.50. So 45 to 50. Sell 1. 55 to 60. Sell 2. Now, here's our number right down there, this 30.50. And we haven't gotten there yet. So 30 to 35 will be buy 1, like the short side first, and then 20 to 25 will be buy 2. We do have numbers this morning. ISM's looking at 54. That number could come in lower than forecast. PMI services at 49.7, so there's quite a split between these two numbers. Nobody paying any attention to trade balance, international trade at minus 46.2. Don't think anybody will pay any attention to jolts because of the ISM services number. So, down it to crude oil and the ISM services number. Okay, it's going to take a bit to get everything up and done. Get busy on that, and I will be back with you as soon as possible.